He smiled. Even while facing death, he smiled. Ted Bundy wasn't the monster people expected. He was polite, charming, brilliant. He said please. He said thank you. He looked safe. He looked normal. But his smile was a trap. His confidence was camouflage. His personality was a mask. Tonight, we step inside that mask. We'll explore how charm became Bundy's greatest weapon, how narcissism shaped his every move, and how the psychology of power turned an ordinary man into a nightmare in human form. This is Inside Dark Minds. Ted Bundy understood people, not through emotion, but through observation. He studied how to look safe, how to sound confident, how to mimic empathy. He volunteered at a suicide hotline. He comforted strangers on the phone while secretly planning abductions. That wasn't kindness. That was rehearsal. Psychologists call it impression management, the art of controlling how others see you. Bundy mastered it. He dressed neatly, smiled warmly, and spoke like a politician. Even his victims described him as gentle.
Ted couldn't have done this. He was too kind,
one friend said. But Bundy's kindness was mimicry. He showed cognitive empathy, the ability to understand emotion without actually feeling it. He could imitate fear. He could mirror sadness. He could fake compassion. He didn't feel what you felt, but he knew how to make you believe he did. That's why his charm worked. It wasn't real connection. It was manipulation. Every smile was a weapon. Underneath that charm lived a fragile ego, a void desperate to feel important. From childhood, Bundy battled rejection. He grew up believing his mother was his sister. He was lied to, abandoned, humiliated. Those emotions never faded. They transformed into narcissism. Narcissists build their identity on admiration. They need to be special, adored, envied. For Bundy, every smile from a stranger was proof of his power. Every victim, a symbol of control. Narcissists build their identity on admiration. They need to be special, adored, envied. For Bundy, every smile from a stranger was proof of his power. Every victim, a symbol of control. When he finally faced trial, he refused legal help. He defended himself, not for justice, but for the stage. The courtroom became theater. The audience, his worshipers.
He was intoxicated by attention,
said Dr. Al Carlisle, a prison psychologist. Even the judge admired his composure.
You'd have made a good lawyer, Mr. Bundy. I would have loved to have you practice in front of me.
Bundy smiled. He thrived on that compliment, even as he was condemned to die. That's the core of narcissism, to seek admiration, even in destruction. What made Bundy truly dangerous wasn't rage. It was calm, pause, analytical tone. Brain scans of psychopaths show reduced activity in the amygdala, the center of emotion, guilt, and fear. Bundy didn't lack knowledge of right and wrong. He lacked feeling. He once said,
"We're all capable of anything, but most people are afraid. I'm not."
That wasn't bravery. It was biological emptiness. Psychologists call this affective empathy deficiency, a cold detachment from human emotion. Bundy could describe murder scenes without trembling. He could talk about terror with a half smile. To him, people were not people. They were puzzles, objects, characters in a play only he understood. Bundy wasn't insane. He was strategically sane, a man whose logic functioned perfectly, but whose conscience was gone. Bundy didn't kill for pleasure alone. He killed for control. Each crime was about domination, the power to decide who lived, who died, and when. This is sadistic narcissism, where violence becomes proof of superiority. When Bundy killed, he wasn't driven by rage. He was acting out a fantasy, one where he was godlike. Dr. Al Carlisle later wrote,
When Bundy killed, he felt real. Without control, he was nothing.
That's what made him terrifying. His crimes were not chaos. They were choreography. He rehearsed every lie. He calculated every move. But arrogance has a limit. Bundy believed he was invincible, and that belief became his downfall. He escaped custody twice, but each time, his ego led him back into traps. When police finally captured him, he smiled again, not with fear, not with shame, but with pride. January 24th, 1989, Florida State Prison. Crowds gathered outside, cheering for his execution. Inside, Ted Bundy sat quietly. He gave one last interview. He blamed violence on society, on pornography, on everything but himself. Even in his final moments, he was still managing his image, still performing. Psychologists call this legacy narcissism, the obsession with how history will remember you. Bundy wanted control, even over his story's ending. When the electricity surged through his body, the mask finally cracked. But the performance never truly died. Ted Bundy forces us to face a disturbing truth. Evil doesn't always hide in the dark. Sometimes it smiles right in front of us. It looks polite, intelligent, trustworthy, but behind that mask lies hunger, control, madness. The most terrifying monsters are the ones who look like us. You've been watching Inside Dark Minds. Subscribe, and next, we'll uncover why even the most intelligent killers eventually get caught